Number 2. Since moving to New York, I've had a few experiences with some creeps. However, this just happened, and I really do think it's worth sharing. One Saturday night, I had dinner with a few friends, and afterwards, I started to go back to the Upper East Side where I live. I had just gotten off the subway, and when I got up to the street, I noticed a young girl, in her early 20s maybe, leaning against a wall crying. I also noticed that she was pregnant. Being the sensitive person that I am, I kept looking at her and debated if I should say something. But she noticed I kept looking at her, and so she approached me. Let me just say that it was like 12 degrees Saturday night in New York, and this girl was wearing a t-shirt. Just a t-shirt. I became concerned that she was in trouble. She introduced herself as Katie, I changed the name for obvious reasons, and told me she was 7 months pregnant and homeless. She asked if I could get her a hot chocolate or some hot beverage from the D&D down the street. I didn't want to be insensitive, because that's not the kind of person I am. So I offered to give her some cash instead. To be honest, I was just tired and just wanted to get home, but I still wanted to help her. Now, this is where it got a little weird. I take out my wallet, and she clearly sees that I have, not to try to sound spoiled or like a brat, but she sees I have a few $100s in cash and credit cards. However, she declines and says she would much rather prefer the hot drink. I'm so sorry about your situation, and I wish I could do more to help, but I really need to get home, I said to her, and held out a $20 bill. She keeps insisting, telling me that it's only a few blocks away. I again tell her that I can't, and hold out the money. She declines it once again, but I can see now that she's starting to get aggravated. I apologise again, wish her well, and start to leave. That's when my curiosity gets the best of me. I see her leaving and going the opposite direction of the D&D. I then made probably the worst decision ever. However, I don't regret it. I followed her. Something was off about this girl, and I wanted to see what she was up to. She was probably about 5'4"-ish, and I am a 5'10" female athlete. The street we were walking on was crowded, and I managed to be unseen as I followed her. After maybe 5 minutes, she turned a corner and went up a street. The street was seriously shady as fuck. It was dark, and it was empty. I decided to stay back, but kept looking around the corner, only to see her go into what seemed like an alleyway. I slowly walked to where the corner of the alley was, and carefully looked to see that Katie was stood with 3 men and another girl talking. They were at the far end of the alley, so I managed to be unseen. There was what looked like a van. I couldn't tell, but it looked like a small U-Haul van. I listened to their conversation and made out a few things they said, like, next time you go out in the freezing cold wearing a t-shirt. It didn't work with the other girl last night either. And then I heard a man's voice say, "You need to be more convincing." Then she yelled back at him saying, "I'm wearing a fucking pregnant belly. How much more convincing could I fucking get?" I then carefully peeked around the corner to see Katie taking off the fake belly she was wearing. And at that moment, my heart sank. I almost fell into a trap. I began to walk away and relaxed a little when I got to a crowded street. When I got home, I called my friend and told him what happened. He grew up in the city, and he told me that he's heard of people who do stuff like that. But I don't think they wanted to rob me, because if that was the case, why didn't Katie take my wallet when I took it out? I walk past that area almost every day, and I've never seen her since. I don't know what their plans were, but they were certainly not positive. So to Katie and her cult, club, whatever, let's not meet again. Number 1. I live in a rural part of Kentucky. There isn't much to do here for a couple of bored teenagers. You always hear about local urban legends. Every town has one or two, and my town is no different. Kentucky has a cult presence. I'll leave a link in the description so you can see for yourself, but this is just a tip of the iceberg. There is a distillery in a remote part of the area. It sits by the Kentucky River on a stretch of road out in the middle of nowhere. Kids in the area love to throw parties there. One of my friends, Jay, was one of these kids. Jay moved to our school in the middle of the year. He knew everyone, and everyone knew him. During a dull math lecture, Jay and I started talking about local myths surrounding the area. There are quite a few. Jay starts telling me about a distillery he used to throw parties at. He says that he's heard rumours that a cult meets there, and continues to tell me weird experiences that he's had there. Everything from dolls being nailed to the walls inside the distillery, to a homeless guy shooting at him down there. I decide I want to check it out. Jay, myself and a few friends decided to go to the distillery the following weekend and explore the area around it. Our plan was for me to drive my car and Jay to drive his car, because we had a total of 8 people going with us. And so I had to follow Jay up there. Friday comes, and the whole day at school we were getting psyched up for our trip. At about 10 that night, we all meet and saddle up. I follow Jay in his car with my 4 passengers, and Jay drives his car with 2 passengers. We drove for what seemed like forever, about 45 minutes. I didn't even know if we were in the same town. Jay turned his car onto a little 2-lane road. This road seemed pretty normal, no sign of anything out of the ordinary. I keep following Jay's car down this road for about another 5 minutes. That's when things started to get weird. The road got smaller, and we passed a street sign that just had the word hell spray painted on it. We passed a couple of houses that had weird red lights on the inside, and a few houses that looked like they were falling apart. A little bit further up, we passed the distillery and took a left up another hollow. This road was even crazier. It was almost straight up a mountain with no guardrail on the side. If we were to swerve off this road, we would be dead. We get to the top of the hill and keep following this road until we came upon a gravel driveway. Jay stopped his car. "This is it," he said as he got out of his car and walked over to mine. I noticed some strange things right off the bat. The driveway led up to a huge house surrounded by trees. In the trees, I noticed ropes hanging from them. They looked like nooses. There were signs posted everywhere about shooting anyone who came onto the property. I also noticed a weird rock formation in a clearing of trees off to the side of the road. Almost like a Stonehenge type deal. After talking to Jay for a while about the route we were taking to go back home, we noticed lights coming down the drive. A few of them. "Drive. Drive," Jay shouted as he took off back to his car. I immediately floored it. I left Jay and his passengers in the dust. I almost hit 3 deer that jumped out in front of the car. My buddy in the back seat started asking us if we'd seen those things behind us. I asked him what he was talking about, and he said there was what looked like to be dogs in the road behind us. He said that they looked like dogs, but they were way too big to be dogs. We got back to town and stopped at a Waffle House to rehash what just happened. Jay said that he had seen a few dirt bikes and ATVs coming down the drive and didn't want to be around when they got down there. Could this have been the cult that everyone was talking about? I may never know, but if it was, let's not meet again. Well, anyway guys, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed, then please leave a like, share and subscribe if you haven't already. If you enjoyed this kind of theme of doing other things than just Let's Not Meets, like featuring Ouija boards, cults, gangs, anything like that, then please make sure to leave a like and a comment down below. If you have any stories of these which you would like to have shared, then please make sure to contact me, link in the description below, and you may be featured in a future video. Well, anyway, I hope to see you soon, and I'll speak to you later.